And it's showtime. I've always wanted to say that, guys. I'm hoping.
Hey, family.
Hey, fam. It's showtime. I've always wanted to say that, guys. Wait. I'm hoping.
Hey, family.
Okay. I know what happened. I didn't mute myself on YouTube. My daughter calls it YouTube. All right, guys, we're just gonna jump straight into it because we don't have a lot of time and data is expensive. For those who are watching, please just tweet using the hashtag THUDmoney on Twitter if you are on Twitter, and if you're on Facebook, there's a group called THUDmoney Franchise Stockfell. If you are on my personal profile, or rather, if we are connected on Facebook on my personal profile, I have shared the link on my thingy, on my timeline, as to where we are watching. I would like everybody to rather jump onto the YouTube page because we can then centralize conversations. I just want to introduce my colleagues, or rather, let me just start by doing a quick update of what this is about, because there are people who are joining us for the first time. And I'm really excited that this thing has picked up steam in the way it is. And of course it should pick up steam. I'm riding with lions here and tigresses, like it's amazing what is happening. What it is, it's called the THUDmoney Franchise Stockfell. We are a collective, a group of people that have built up quite a bit of experience amongst ourselves. And what we decided to do amongst ourselves is that instead of wondering how we can have a piece of the pie in the franchising industry, we decided to do something about it. We decided, let's get together and help people have a vehicle to collect money collectively. And in collecting that money, let's go out and buy franchises. So that's the start, right? And then in buying franchises, it allows us to first employ ourselves, employ each other, employ our cousins or our uncles and whoever else needs to be employed, especially if they've got the correct skill, And then on top of that, we're able to create generational wealth for our families, for our kids especially, so that they can be trust fund babies, like some people out there are trust fund babies. And furthermore, we can transform value chains. So the supply chains in the franchising industry are a bit rigid and they're not in our favor. The only way to change anything is to show up with your own piece of money. So I want to make sure that when we have this conversation, do make sure that you ask us as many questions as possible through the chat bot on our YouTube page, and make sure that if you feel like there's something that hasn't been answered and we run out of time, you do drop us an email. Our email address is stockfels@thud.africa. The contribution amount that you'll be putting into this is 15,500. We are capitalizing this at 1.5 million. That is what we are raising to buy our first franchise. We are very fortunate to be in the position where we have raised over 300,000 Rand. I will tell you the exact amount as we go on in the conversation. I just need to look it up here. Exciting times, guys. Really, really exciting times. Let me just introduce my colleagues very quickly. First up is Tshepo Moloi. He's the brains behind the magnificent technology that is handling all our fees, which is the Stockfell app. I want Tshepo to actually give us a quick overview of how much money Stockfell handles in general, because Stockfell handles quite a few Stockfells beyond the ones that you would have known through me, whether it's the People Stockfell or a few of the others that I would have told you about. Stockfell is it's the bank for Stockfells. I love saying that about Stockfell. And then we've got my favorite friend, we discovered not so long ago that we were born in the same town, that being Kroonstad in the Free State. This is Bathabile Moreki. She's a multi-franchisee. She's an entrepreneur. She's an author now. And she's our franchising mentor in this journey because she owns about 4 franchises. She's done over 12 million per annum in revenue. So she knows what she's talking about. She's our champion for this chapter of what we're doing in our lives. And then we've got my other fave in the financial literacy space, this being Palisa Lengolo. She's an author. In fact, I have a book. If you don't have the book on Stockfells, you better make sure that you get it, because this book will save your life. Trust me on that. Palisa is an author of Stockfells, and the book is how they can make money work for you. And also, in this regard, she helps us with governance systems and educating Stockfells and financial literacy. So a very strong cog in the system in making sure that what we are launching and running is governed correctly and it is transparent in the way that we are doing it, and we are accountable to the process so that we can succeed. This is not another fly-by-night thing. We've proven our mettle in the space. If you know about the People's Fund, you would know that we've done over 100 million in revenue. So we know what we are talking about. We've learned quite a bit. What we do not know, as the rest of us are novices, it's in the franchising space, and this is where Bathabile will lead us. I'll start with you, Tsepo. Just a quick intro and tell us about the Stockfell platform, my friend.
Yeah, super, man. Thanks for the intro. Great. So yeah, the Stockfell platform is a platform which just makes this whole thing transparent, convenient, and secure for those who join the Stockfell, the THUDmoney franchise Stockfell. You asked me very interesting questions, which I tend not to want to tell people how much money that Stockfell runs a lot, because then people think that we own the entire Stockfell 50 billion rand industry. We're not there yet. That's our target, of course. But yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, we process anything average in the month of not less than 5 million that comes through our platform. Yeah, I mean, we pay out close to about more than 2 million rand in general to Stockfells that are out there. We have over 1,000 Stockfells on our platform that work with us. Yeah, I mean, there's some great big Stockfells. Yes, the TPS Stockfell is one of them. I think in general it has more than, like you said, more than 1 million. There is one of my favorite Stockfells on the platform, you know, that started last year, 50 Rand Stockfell, and through 50 Rand they are now close to 1 million in less than a year, you know. So it's amazing the things that we see on Stockfell, what other Stockfells can do when they come together, and as little as 50 Rand, they can actually raise so much funds. With the THUDmoney Stockfell, of course, is a little bit more than that. So because we want to get to the goal a bit quicker, and also, you know, I think the country needs saving at the present moment economically, and it needs to come from us. If not us, then who? You know, yeah. So I think if we are gonna reboot this economy of South Africa, then definitely we need to reboot it with the Stockfells in mind.
Sorry, you can just Melissa.
Mute. You're on mute. I didn't hear what you said. So for me, I'm Balesa Lengolo, as you said. Thank you for the introduction. But just a quick, my value will be turning the Stockfell when we are going to the cooperative route in terms of formalizing it and making sure that the contributions that are made are capitalized into the co-op, so that we can actually buy this franchise and follow the co-op governance and the principles and values that are set according to the Cooperatives Act. So we just want to do this whole thing correctly and legally and lawfully, and most importantly, as pain-free as possible, and where everybody gets a value out of it, and making sure that also proving that Stockfells are able to go this route and own such important investments in our economy while creating jobs.
Awesome stuff. But Sabile, you can jump straight in, my sister. I know that because you are in Free State, you've got challenges with your connectivity, but we'll try as best as possible, ne? But Sabile, or shame, her mic is off. All right. Ooh, and my first question is to Bathabile. Anyway. Whilst we sort Bathabile out in the background, please, Tsepo, just update us on the latest amount. How much have we raised so far as of yesterday? And how many members are in the group? And what's going to happen next? Just a quick summary around that whilst I get hold of Bathabile.
All right, no, super. So how many members are in the group? Let's start with that basic, right? So there are just over 650 members that are in the Stockfell group itself that have been added on the Stockfell platform. A lot of them, a bulk of them, more than 400 of them, should have gotten SMSs yesterday with their membership number and details to make payments. The others are getting their membership now as we speak, and their SMSs numbers, we are SMSing them their membership number right now, basically. In total, we've had contributions of more than 320, just above 319,000. rands from that point of view. In general, we have over 51 members already that have paid at least the minimum required contribution, which is 3,000 rand, which is your 500 rand non-refundable joining fee, and 2,000 rand, 2,500 rand your contribution for the month of June, or should I say for the month of 1st of July. You have until the 6th of July to contribute that 3,000 rand in order for you to continue the journey with us, if I'm giving a high level numbers. But yeah, that's where we stand at the moment with the numbers, contribution wise, and the number of people.
All right. Is anybody able to get a hold of Bathabile? I know I can see that she's here, but I don't know what's going on.
Hi, Labu. Hi, Buddy. I'm here.
Come on. Oh. But it's so sad there. Bathabile, so two things that I want from you for now, ne? For the benefit of somebody who's hearing about us for the first time, specifically, and because we've introduced you as our champion and as a multi-franchisee, just a quick summary of what you have done in your space as a franchise owner and as an entrepreneur. And then that will be followed by getting straight into the franchise that we're buying. Did you hear that? Connectivity issues. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Okay. Tsepo, I'm gonna come back to you before I go to Palace, ne?
No problem.
But Tabitha is having some really serious connectivity issues, guys. Maybe we'll cover her parts ourselves. What I would like to understand, just from where you stand on the Stockfell platform, right? We sent out SMSs yesterday just to remind people to pay. And we know that as much as we have just over 600, is it over 600 or 700 people that we've loaded?
Over 650.
Just over 650 people that we've loaded onto the Stockfell platform. This is people who accepted the invitation to join, to be on stockfell.com, because we can't add you. You have to accept the invitation. Of those people, there's just over 60 people that have actually contributed money. Is that correct?
Well, in total, all people have contributed. Just give me a second. Let me have a look at here quickly. So in total, the number of people that have contributed, I'll just tell you just now. It's over 50, over 60 in total that have contributed.
Over 60 people, right?
Yes.
And we have given a deadline of 6 July for the first phase of collections, and to make sure that we close because what we need is 100 members to move forward to that next level. Even though we've crossed our target, I mean, our target was to reach 250,000 rand by the 6th, right? And right now we're sitting at 300 and something. But this is because the fewer members, people like yourself and a few others, have paid their 15,000 rand plus registration fee up. That's So what we are trying to understand now is what happens next. So we get to 6 July and we don't have 100 members, or we get to 6 July, over 100 people have paid. What is the process next?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, and those are good two scenarios. So I think let's deal with the first scenario, so which is overflow, right? Because overflow is what we want, arguably, right? So being oversubscribed is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that it puts work on us as the drivers of this thing to say, okay, instead of having one franchise, we might just have to have 6 franchises, because if all 600 plus 650 people pay, right, and they all get to 15,000 rand mark, which is we want all of them to get to, it means that we are actually creating more jobs and having more franchises, right? So oversubscription is not a bad thing. The question is, right, I think ultimately that you're asking is that, so we get to 6th of July and we only have 51 members that have paid the 3,000 rand. What do we do then? Do we extend the time period for the other people, or do we say, okay, you know what, we are cutting this thing off? I think at the present moment, what we're going to do is say, okay, we are going to likely extend it for those that have shown commitment. And what I mean about those that have shown commitment, that have put something in. You know, it might have not been reached to the 3,000 rand, but you've reached the 2.5, which is what's required, or the 1,000 rand, which is the 500 joining fee. We might say, okay, look, let's give you another week to get to the point of actually locking you in for so you become part of the first 100. But if we have 100 people already, right, which is like the third scenario, all right, the 100 people already that have paid over 3,000 rand, and you have paid something, but you have not reached the 3,000 rand mark, it means that you'll be part of the next wave of funding round that we'll have along the way. So you have not lost out on your opportunity. It just means you just have to wait a bit. You're not part of the first 100, basically. So that's the three scenarios that how we're going to work with.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Tsepo. Palisa, I'm gonna come to you now before I go to Batabile. Help us understand the governance process. This is a question that pops up a lot, and because we're dealing with money, there's trust element, and we've been very fortunate to learn quite a bit through the journey of the People Stockfell and all the other entities that we run on the side. Now we are here. We put out a call to action. We said we're setting up a Stockfell. We set it up. We've got a group on Stockfell, and we've set up a group on Facebook where people can join in privately. And we are oversubscribed right now, right? Oversubscribed in the sense that people are in there, but they haven't all paid in the way that we want. And when we get to 100 people, we are going to remove anybody who has not paid or contributed, and probably set up a secondary group for them, because we want to deal with people who have actually committed to the journey, not people that are coming to watch. As we have seen, for instance, in the People Stockfell, that you have a lot of watchers in the audience, people that are sitting there, they ask for everything, they make a lot of noise, but they're actually not taking any action, they're not participating in anything that is meaningful. So I want you to walk us through, in a very simplified way, walk us through the journey of from moment of call to action to joining a Stockfell to setting up a cooperative, because there's with each phase, there's different agreements that need to be in place. For instance, there's a constitution, there's a registration fee. How does it work for a Stockfell? How does it work for a cooperative? And what does it mean when you're in a cooperative?
Okay, so I think the first thing that we need to make clear is the fact that we are still purely on the Stockfell stage. So everything that governs us right now, we are following the normal Stockfell rules, which means the constitution that is already in place that everybody has signed when they were joining, and the rules of joining fee to join the Stockfell and contributing. So what we are doing right now, we are at fundraising stage as a Stockfell in order to be able to get to the co-op. The co-op will only come into existence should the stage become successful and fully funded. So what that means, we can only go to the co-op stage if we have the 100 people that have paid fully 15,000. If we don't proceed to go to open a co-op. We stay as Stockfell until we get there. So everything that governs us right now is according to the Stockfell constitution, what is being in there. Once we do get now into the 100 people that have fully paid with the 15,000 and they are joining fees of 500 rand each, then we start setting up a co-op, which is now a different entity from the Stockfell that we're using as a fundraising model to a business, or which is the co-op. So that's where now the 100 people, we start again. We do a constitution. You get to be a member of the co-op again, which also requires its process in terms of the co-op. Being a member of a co-op also works like a Stockfell, except now you are in a business entity where you have your membership number, you'll have your share certificate, and that all part of the co-ops, and it's also a membership fee to be part of the co-op. Now we have moved from being a Stockfell to being co-op members. Once we are in that stage, all 100 of us there, then we now follow the governance of a co-op and not of a Stockfell. So for me right now, the most important thing for people to understand is to understand that right now we are just a Stockfell with a bigger vision of being a cooperative, but everything we are doing right now, we are doing it being governed by the Stockfell rules, and we'll only get to a co-op stage should we raise the 1.5 or at least show commitment that we are reaching our target to be there. Then the rules and the governance change. So we're almost going to start over, but not really for when you're starting this co-op.
I hear you. And we also have deadlines on our part, because the reason we said 6 July for the first tranche is so that negotiations can start happening with the franchisor. So each stage has got a milestone, and this is why we're doing things this way. I just want to address a few of the comments that are coming through our YouTube chat group there. First was, please provide your email. So the email is Stockfels. We'll type it. Fundo, wherever you are, please just type it in the chat bot on YouTube. It's Stockfels it's Stockfels at THUD being THUD.Africa. That's where you can engage us with anything that you've got concerns about. But also, if you have a question and it happens not to be addressed in the time frame that we have for this session, we'll definitely be reaching out even after the session is over. So it's important for you to put in as many questions as possible into the chat box so that we can address them accordingly. And then somebody else asked here, this is Malef, which he said, is it possible for non-South Africans to be part of the Stockfell? I believe so. Palisa, please correct me if I'm veered off.
I think that will depend on Tepo's. They've got certain countries that they cover as Stockfell, so he will say which countries.
Okay, Tepo, please cover that one.
Yeah, so it all comes back to regulation, right? So at the present moment, the only countries that can be part of the Stockfell is Lesotho, Swaziland, Namibia, and South Africa, of course. These are the 4 countries that, as Stockfeller and from a Stockfell perspective, we've enabled. So yes, but I guess the question usually stems from our brothers or sisters that are living outside the country, you know, and particularly I'm talking about the South Africans that perhaps they are living in Asia somewhere because they are teachers or they are nurses, you know, those ones, they can get a representative from a family that is currently living in South Africa to actually represent them from that point of view. I think we've touched on if a Stockfell can present you or a person can represent you from that point. Yeah, so, and then they can contribute directly from wherever they are through EFT payment, of course. So that's a different, but citizens that can be part is South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, and Swaziland. Or should I say Eswatini? My apologies, Eswatini.
Yes, please. People like me come from Eswatini, so behave, brother. And then, Gina, I think we had already addressed this one, but I'm just going to reiterate it here. Have we reached the projected number? So we've reached the projected number in terms of money projected, which was 250,000, but we haven't reached it in terms of numbers of the Stockfell, so it doesn't count. We need 100 members to each have paid a minimum of 3,000 rand by 6 July. That's the target. We are oversubscribed. We've got over 650 people that have joined the group, but what counts is money, not hands up, you know, very important to note. And then somebody here asked, where can we get Stockfell book? The last time it was out of stock at Take It Out. Palisa, please take that one quickly.
Yo, I'm glad it was out of stock. You can get it from Exclusives, you can get it from Bargain Books, you can get it from CNA and all the leading stores. But I prefer you get it from me, so get it from info@Palengo Holdings.
All right. Mfundo, please type in Palisa's email address into the YouTube thing. Guys, we are everything when we're on the internet. You produce you at the same time. And then Purpose and Passion, please extend the deadline to end of July. Like we said, we've got pressures on our side based on what the milestones and the timelines that need to happen in terms of commitments with the franchisor. Otherwise, we have to restart the process of renegotiation. So if we do reach our numbers for the first group of 100 by 6 July, we are not going to extend. Instead, we're going to set up a separate group, a secondary group that is going to do the same process. So the second franchise might not have a deadline for December. It might be You know, it might be January or Feb or whatever. But basically, every group of 100 that contributes money, it's driven by milestones depending on what we have negotiated. And then next, I got the SMS and I made payment, but I'm struggling to sign up on Stockfell platform. Seppo, please take that one.
Please contact info@stockvela.com. We also have an office line 011 568 3497. Fundo, please do the magic.
Do the magic, Mfundo. You know what to do. We hope you are typing, Mfundo. Oh, he is, Shem. I was about to be harsh on him there. Some of you might have received an SMS just now because SMSs are going out. We sent out the first batch yesterday. Second batch came out today. What it gives you is your reference number. For Stockfella, it's a very unique reference number to you, and the banking details for where you must put the money in. The importance of using the reference number correctly is that it automatically updates onto the Stockfella platform. And you will see when you join the group how it functions. Everybody, you can see who has paid and who hasn't paid. Anybody can see right now that we've got X number of people, but only X number of people have actually paid. This is the beauty of this platform. It's very transparent in the entire process. Next up, the comment is that, okay, if you're a permanent resident and have an SA ID and you're not part of those countries, but Zim, you can't be part of Stockfell. If you are in Zim, you probably have a family member in South Africa. Zim and South Africa, we are one. We are one. So make it.
So can I answer that question quickly?
Yeah.
Right. It says if you're a permanent resident and have an SA ID and you're not part of those countries, but Zim, you can't be part of the Stockfell. No, I mean if you by mere virtue you have an SA ID, whether you are naturally born on whether through by naturalization or you are born in this country, by mere fact you have a South African ID, you can be part of the Stockfell. If I'm understanding the question.
Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Gap up. And then next comment says, naturally an adult, me or his mom will represent him. Okay. Oh, that's tattoo. I see you, bro. Fundo has put up the comment there for where you must get the emails going. It's stockfels at that.africa. And then next, just received SMS. Perfect, Busi. I love that. But Tabile, just give me an indication that you are ready, my sister.
Hi, family. I'm ready.
Perfect. I made an error earlier and said you are still in the free stage. Khanti, you left in the morning. I know that now you are
in the morning. I'm here now.
Yeah. But Sabile, quick update from your side. What have you done in the franchising space in the last 4 years? It's been 4 or 5 years now.
It's been 5.5 now. It's 6 in September.
Nice one. Give us the journey, just very short, summarized.
Yeah, the journey has been exciting. I've learned a lot in the industry, considering that the industry contributes 15.3% of our GDP. So it's quite a big space that has a lot of opportunities for African communities. So it's something that I've learned so much that is not only about running the store, but there's also a good opportunities in the value chain of procurement as well. So yeah, so I can say it's a nice journey because all the stores that I've set up, I've built them from scratch. So through the construction phase, setting up, raising funds, you learn a lot. Like now, we are in a journey of raising funds as 100 members. So we are now discussing such. So it's quite not only benefiting when you have opened the store, but throughout each step, you are learning something new, which you can also use on other opportunities that will arise. Like now, I'm not only in the franchising space, I'm also in mentorship, which I've learned through the franchising industry. So it's very broad, since they also do a lot of manufacturing. They don't just buy off shelves. A lot of their product they produce themselves. They do their own packaging. They do their own internal marketing. So it's a vast industry.
Okay. How much have you made?
My friend, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire, my friend, with my first store, guys. The first day I opened the store, I will never forget. I made 28,000 rand. In a year, I've turned 4.5 million. And it was such a small store in a township of Olivenhout-Bosch, which was 5 years ago. So you can imagine opening up a franchise 6 years later. We're going to make a killing, guys. We're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Food, especially in food, people eat every day, whether COVID or no COVID. Even now in the food industry, we are seeing a very good change as much as we were affected, but we are adapting very quickly. You'll see a lot of stores, they are changing into delivery model. And with delivery, the nice thing, people tend to pay more because you set up a minimum fee so that people can get their food delivered. So that ensures that nobody is spending like 20 rand. You know, when you walk in the shop, you can buy a small something for 20 rand, but with a delivery, there's a cap to say a minimum of 85 rand. So just imagine delivering to 50 people at 85 rand per person, how much you will make in a day. So the food industry, as much as there was COVID pandemic, but it is a growing industry.
I'm really
we just need to put a lot of technology to support it.
Yeah, that excites me, and I'll tell you why. We've got such a high failure rate in the SME space, and it's such a challenge. And then we've got a serial entrepreneur like yourself who comes out and says to us, you don't have to do it this way only. There's multiple ways that you can do this thing and still succeed. And what you have chosen is the franchising industry because it's to a certain degree, it's de-risked. There's nothing that is risk-free in life, guys. Wherever we put money, there will always be risk. There's always a risk of losing money. I just want to put this out so that it's very clear. But we've learned that in the franchising industry, failure is a bit less than in a traditional business. And we are not saying we are advocating for people not starting businesses. All that we are trying to do is buy into systems that work and then see how we can scale these solutions. Why? Because we've got really big challenges in South Africa and in Africa as well. They are centered around unemployment, poverty, and inequality. And in us starting the THUDmoney franchise Stockfell and putting our money where our mouth is at, we're saying we are going to be the solution to this problem that currently exists. And we are going to solve this one way or the other. And we know that the franchising industry works. And what we must be diligent about is choosing partners that can deliver, that can help us deliver on the results, and that have integrity, that are not going to sell us a shell or that are not going to rob us out of our money. So that is part of a big component of the 4 companies that you see here, which are the 4 representatives that stand here. We stand in that gap. Our job is to do the due diligence, to go through with the process and handhold the Stockfell that turns into a cooperative and make sure that we can deliver on the value, and then pray and hope that the systems we've set up and the vehicle we've chosen actually functions the way that we've intended for it to do. And a big intention of this, and I'm going to bring it back to you, Batabile, a big intention for us, guys, is that we decided that initially we are going to choose mainstream brands to buy into, because to garner public trust is a big thing, and it takes a lot of effort and energy. So we are first going to choose franchises that we know that anybody can recognize. And I'm not going to mention names at this current stage because there's different negotiations, but you would know any food franchise that you've bought into. We are looking at those franchises and we're looking at the ones that are really performing well, but potentially give us some nice margins that we can operate from. If we can buy about 10 to 20 of those stores, we know that we've got a sizable chunk of businesses in our portfolio. And then from there, we get into the nitty-gritties of buying well-operated, small Black-owned businesses that can potentially become franchises. And we franchise them together as a collective. This is the beauty of this journey. We are walking this journey together, and we are definitely going to require more skills than ever. But Tabile, just from your experience, I mean, you're already in the franchising industry. You know quite a few food joints that are out there. And you and I talk about them offline quite a bit. What are you seeing? Do you see the opportunity for businesses to turn themselves into franchises? And why do you believe in the food franchising space versus hardware or anything else? Like, what makes you take specifically to the food space?
I think for me, the big thing, I'll start with the food industry. The food industry, since we are doing this as a collective, we looked into an industry that can be, can relate to the majority of the people. So when we talk about food, it's a bit of an easier one to start with, because remember, the aim, we are not here to, what can I say, to kind of prove a point. We want to make money. We want to multiply our investment. So we are looking into something that we know for sure it can work. So as we looked into different industries, we've seen that with food, it's ranked number 1. Even in the food, in the franchising space, food is the number big contributor in the.
Is it me or have we lost Batabile? Have we lost her, guys? Just trying to check.
No, she's still there. I think perhaps the voice network issue.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm doing this so that we can continue. So Khotso has asked a question here. Khotso Motsama, he says, what happens to the first group after the successful implementation of the first franchise? Do we crowdfund for the next franchise? Yes, we've just answered that question, but I will reiterate it. Each of these are like a Stockfell, like the model that we've set up, and you will see it in the presentation that you would have received. So please do go through the presentation. It's important because then we can advance the conversation in terms of the questions that we are asking. Each group is 100. We're not going to do more than 100 people per group, per Stockfell. And in that 100, then we move to the next. So if we happen to have 120 people that all decide to pay come the 6th of July, it's on a first come first serve basis. So we are definitely choosing the first 100, and the rest of the people we're going to put them into the next group. So don't feel like don't feel like you're losing out if it so happens that you're not part of the first 100. There's definitely going to be a secondary group that we'll set, but it's very important for us to execute on our mandate with the first group. So that's the focus, first and foremost, and then we're going to continually repeat this process. I just thought I should highlight that. But Tabitha, you fine now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry about your network, my friend.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
that was the first one about the why we chose the food industry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the other question, my friend? Can you please remind me?
Okay. So we've decided to go with Jimmy's Fish and Chips as the first franchise that we are buying. Just tell us a bit. Again, there's people who are new who just joined this week, and we know some people are lazy. They don't watch the launch video, even though we sent it to them. Why did we choose Jimmy's franchise versus other brands? And what's going to happen next?
Okay. Why we chose Jimmy's? Can I just correct it? It's called Jimmy's Express Killer. The fish and chips is a smaller one with only focusing on fish and chips. But our one, it's a mix of grills. It has quarter, it has fish and chips, it has chicken, grilled chicken. So it's quite a bigger outlet. So why we chose that, we looked into the profile of the brand to say, is it suitable for a township? Because as we're going to start, we'll be setting up in the township, in our townships. And number two, we engaged with different franchisors, and the Jimmy's Express was one of that came forth to say, I'm interested to work with your terms, because remember, we are coming as a Stockfell, as a cooperative, which we've
but Tabitha's network is going to be a very interesting thing. The reason I'm looking this way, guys, there's questions that are coming in from Instagram. So I'm just trying to make sure that I don't miss them out in terms of what we must address. Okay, I think we get the gist. So, but Tabitha is saying we're choosing Jimmy's Killer franchise, not fish and chips. So my bad. I'm sorry for having pronounced that. And the reason we're choosing that, it's got more variety, and especially for the township market that we're targeting. And a big part of it is that Jimmy's versus other brands, they chose to engage us. When I say engage us, we had a list of terms that we wanted to engage around, and they were far more flexible to the conversation than other brands. And really, the reason for that is usually around power, right? Other people see potential, other people want to engage power. So big established brands look at us and they say, you guys are small, you're still talking. But look at us, 6 days later, we've raised over 300,000, and we're definitely going to hit that 1.5 million max in the next 2 months. If we are on 300,000 plus on day 6, imagine us on day 10, what we're going to be looking like. So we're showing that we put our money where our mouths are at, and we're proving this to Jimmy's, and as a result, they're willing to engage a group of people. Usually you just want to engage one person who must pop out that 1.5 million on their own and go in and loan money from the bank or whatever. We've said to them, we've got a different model, which is falls within collective investment schemes, to buy into your business, and we would like to do something amazing. What we are going to do next week, we're going to invite representatives from Jimmy's to come and answer a couple of questions about the franchise itself, about the brand and what is happening in that space. So we want to walk this journey as transparently as possible with everybody. And if you are part of the group, you will know everything that is going on because you will be on the Stockfell.com platform. On the Stockfell.com platform, the most important thing is that there's transparency and you know exactly what is happening. You can read the constitution and each person is an equal shareholder of this thing. So just because we are the leaders, we lead in the space in terms of what, it doesn't mean that we can take unanimous decisions in terms of what all of us must agree, because this is a village and we are wanting to share this wealth together, wanting to build this wealth together. But just like in any organization, there will always be structures. Our structure is the operational structure that is actually implementing on this. And yes, we are definitely going to charge our service fees for this thing to happen. But our commitment, first and foremost, is to make sure that we deliver on the promise. Once we deliver on the promise, it becomes easy to scale this solution. We want to be buying in the multiples. We don't want to be raising money to buy one franchise. We want to buy in the multiples because that's where real money is made. With the first franchise as proof of concept, just to show that we can do this thing. But where it's going to get really exciting for us is when the first group that has signed up the first 100 members, those members decide to come back and say, guys, we've got more than 15K, we want to buy, we want to invest more. That is where it's gonna get really exciting. Buying into an asset that you can actually see, touch, and feel, that creates actual tangible jobs where you can actually walk into a store and buy, knowing that you've got ownership in this. This is the exciting thing that excites me, and this is why I was one of the first people to sign up and actually put money in. So it's not just about putting a concept together, it's about making sure that we commit equally, just like everybody else that shows up for this. But I might pronounce this incorrectly, and I apologize if I do. I think you're called Mbavi or Mbadi. She says, really excited about this initiative, and I'll make sure that I reach my 15K soon. Thank you for the opportunity. We really appreciate you. And hopefully you've got some skills that you can share with us. We are definitely going to be looking for people. And then Gina says, yeah, this is a race worth running. Excitement all around. One thing that I want to reiterate for the collective is that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You are not going to see millions in the next year. Guys, it's very important. We build for the long term. And if you want to understand what that means, please go and look at our other platforms that in terms of what we have built so far, the properties that we have built. Go on to Stockfella.com itself, or just Google Stockfella, Stockfella being STOKFELLA, and watch their amazing journey. Tsepo started this in 2016 and is still going hard at it, and it's still hard to date, you know? And what I'm sharing here is there's no way that Rome or Johannesburg was built in one day. So if you are going to be joining this, you're not joining to give us headaches. Very important to understand that. You're joining to contribute. The motto of what that stands for, our values, is that we connect, we engage, and we contribute to each other's success. This is what we are doing in our evolution right now. We are contributing to the next phase of growth collectively, for the collective. So we want people that are going to put up their hand and say, I want to join this committee or that committee. We are going to form multiple committees that must definitely participate actively in making sure that we move forward. You will definitely see that the moment we get to franchise number 2 and franchise number 3, it's about scale. And in scale, you need the right minds in the right spaces. So make sure that you participate. Don't just put in your money and then disappear and wait for us. Most will do that, and we get it. We've experienced it multiple times. But if you have the correct skill and you know that you can participate, we would really appreciate that you raise your hand. We will definitely be reaching out to some of you. Something else that I wanted Batabile to actually pronounce, is she here? Batabile, I just want to check whether you are fine with your network.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay, my friend, perfect. Please tell us about our search for a site, because we want to involve our community in like our community of people that are joining this in the process. So just tell us about what we are searching for.
Okay, thanks for that. So what we are searching for, it's definitely it should be a site in a township and next to a shopping center or shopping complex. You know, in the Gogokasi, there are those stores, chain stores. So it should be where there's traffic, because we need a space where there's traffic and infrastructure. So we are going to be sharing an advert today to say what exactly you're going to need. So I'll just give you a rough idea. We need at least 100 square meter. There must be electricity phase 3 with a complete BD. There are different signages that we need to fit in, and there must be garbage behind the exit door. And there must be an exit door so that it allows the stock to be delivered at the.
Ooh, okay. But Tabile is having a bit of a struggle
If
there.
we happen to like the site that you'll propose for us in your area, there will be a price for you. I think it's about 1,000 to grab. So the reason why we are saying the community should also look out. Remember, in your community, you will know the site better than us, the site better than Jimmy's. So now it's an opportunity for you as well to be giving us your contacts of property developers in your area. There are African owned estate agents that are in the area. Also engage with them so that we can find a suitable site, because it's very important to get a good site. A good site means we can now make more money out of the business, because if we get a quiet site that is not reachable by people, is too far, it's out of the way, we won't make a good money. A good site in business always brings good returns.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Batabile. Palisa, can you just address that other question around exit? And then Tsepo, can you take this one around I've transacted? There's still some compliance or paperwork I need to complete.
All right, exit. So that's a good question. It's also on our frequently asked question, because you need to know how you're exiting something that you're entering. It's all great that the entry point is fine. So one thing that we really don't want also is we don't want audience. We don't want, we want people that are really serious, that want to go with this journey with us successfully till the end. But should you want to get out at Stockfell age, which is the next between now until we reach 100 people that are fully paid up, you will be refunded your 2.5, but you won't be refunded your 500 rand. So let's say if you had entered with 15,000, you'll be refunded 15,500. You'll be refunded your 15,000, but not the 500 rand. So that's the exit way in the Stockfell stage. Then if you want to exit within the, when we're already at cooperative stage, we have to follow the processes of withdrawal according to the cooperative governance and what will be at the constitution at that time, the cooperative constitution right now. So if you are already a member, you would have seen in our constitution where, how easily it is to get out should you want to get out or not wait for the next round. So it's just, you will be refunded your money, just less your fees.
Yeah. That's why we say the 500 rand registration fee is non-refundable, because right now things are operating. So for instance, when you put your money onto the Stockfell platform, there's banking fees, because Stockfell is not a bank itself. It still has to, you would have seen that you deposit money into FNB. So those are the fees there for running costs, for us doing all these things, for calling each other and stuff. We use the registration fee to make sure that we can execute. And it's a commitment when you join a Stockfell. Those are the things that you need to be a part of. But V again says, I definitely have skills. As soon as the opportunity arises for us to share them, I would definitely be fully on board. I absolutely love that. I love people like that, because we definitely do need more people on the table. Tsepo, please address this one around I've transacted. Are there still some compliance or paperwork I need to complete?
No, if you've transacted and you've registered on the Stockfell platform, there is no other paperwork that you need to complete, because by merely you transacting and registering on Stockfell platform and accepting the constitution that it's uploaded on the Stockfell platform, you've done your compliance check as a member. We've done the compliance for the executives, which is Batabile, Palesa, and Seleboge at the moment. So that is done. So members just need to sign up and contribute.
Thank you, Tsepo. I'm going to wrap it up here. I do want to reiterate, this entire process is dependent on people responding. We saw it when we set up the People's Stockfell. We saw it when we set up the People's Fund. And what we don't want is people complaining later when they see other people joining who are not South African or who are not Black, just because you did not participate when the opportunity showed up for you. This is an opportunity open to all, but we are intentional in making sure that Black South Africans are participating, because what we hate as entrepreneurs is the sentiment that you find on social media a lot, which is complaining. There's like, you're either complaining about foreigners taking your jobs, or you're talking about white monopoly capital, or like, stop with the complaining and take action. And in our regard, we have taken the action, and we're giving a vehicle through which you can participate. And if you do not participate, you do not have the right to complain. It really is that simple for us. And if you don't like that, then shoot me. But at the end of the day, take action, guys. For instance, yesterday we were complaining about the guy in Cape Town who was dehumanized. That's a Black person. We know what's happening in Cape Town. We know the general system and how it works. But how many people have actually stood up and said, I have legal advice that I can give this guy? Has somebody said, I want to give this guy some money? Where do I reach him? Has anybody said, I saw his shack being torn down, I'm going to do something about it? Let us stop with the retweets and that nonsense, and let's get action going. It's the same thing with the franchising industry. We know that there's massive opportunity for participation here for us. We are going to take action, as we've always done. And I think we've proven ourselves over the last 8 years in terms of what we've been doing. You can search for the history of the hookup dinner or THUD. You can search for the People's Fund. You can search for the People's Stockfell. And now we are coming to you bringing THUDmoney franchise Stockfell consistently. It's about delivering results. And results are about action. It's not about complaining. It's not about tweets. It's not about reach. It's not about trending. It's about action. If you're not taking action, I don't want to be your friend. I don't like people that complain around me. Let's make sure that we've got people that take action. That's 650 plus people that have joined the group. If you do not participate by the 6th of July, we are taking you out of that group. You must understand that, because we stick with people who take action. And we will understand people that say, I am here, I want to participate, but I do not have the capital right now. You will be drafted into the next group that comes up. But we are going to be dealing with people who take action. In fact, the more intimate details that we're going to be sharing into the future will only be for the closed group of people that have decided to take the first step. 15,000 Rand is not a lot of money. And if you do not have it, 3,000 Rand to sign up is not a lot of money. How do I know this? It's because you can club together, either as a Stockfell amongst yourselves or as a family, and put this money into a vehicle like this, and then you can represent those people. You must make sure that you've got the right social contract between yourselves, so that you do not come to us as a group. Our Stockfell is based on individual jurisdiction people, because it must be a person that signs in terms of agreeing to the decisions that get taken. I'm highlighting this because we will not deal with people who are here to complain and cause disruption. We're definitely going to be engaging people who are here to provide solutions. We know very little, but we take action. So if you can come in and contribute your knowledge and skills better than what we have on the table right now, and there's going to be a lot of changes. We're going to constantly evolve because we're learning new information every day. I want to make sure that you engage us because you want to provide solutions to the problems that we have in this country. If you're not part of that wave, I do not want to talk to you. And I'm making this clear. You can quote me on that. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. We'll definitely be updating you. For some of you who have received SMSs, please make sure that you take action in line with the SMSs that you received, because we are taking payments for the next steps. And we will definitely be engaging people that are making payments. So we don't stop communicating once you've made payment. You're going to be constantly kept in the loop with updates and everything, because we're going to be asking you for help as well in terms of some of the things that we must execute on. Thank you so much. Thank you to my guests. Team, you're doing the most behind the scenes, and I really appreciate that I'm walking this journey with you. We're out. Thank you so much.